Understanding volume. We have looked at modeling volume with the little blocks. We've looked at the volume formula, which was volume equals length times width times height. Okay. We have looked at, so again, let's write that down. So our volume is length times width times height. We also looked at the fact that sometimes volume is just the base times the height, where they have combined the length and the width. All right, today, are you ready? We are going to take the volume we've already done. We're going to take two figures and we are going to combine those figures. All right, so what is the meaning of a volume of a solid? It means that we're filling it up. Okay, so perimeter was to go around the edges. Think about putting a fence up or painting your walls of your room. Area was putting down carpet or covering the bottom. The volume, though, is filling up that container, that box. We've talked about a solid can be a rectangular prism, a rectangular solid, and those are usually the tissue box shape. Tissue box, both the cube and the rectangle. Both of those are rectangular prisms. Okay, so today I can find the volume of a solid figure that is the combination of two or more rectangular prisms. So that is important, okay? If you notice, we are looking at the combination. That means we're combining them. When you combine things, are they getting smaller or bigger? Right, they're getting bigger. So are we adding or multiplying or dividing? Okay, we're usually adding. Although if we're combining a lot of figures and they're all the same, we could multiply. Okay, but usually we're going to be adding. Okay, so let's take a look. How do I find the volume of this figure? Well, couldn't we count the blocks? All right, yeah, that'd probably be the easiest in this case. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's one underneath, isn't there? Okay, there's one more underneath. So we have 5 blocks plus 1 hiding. So that tells me that this is volume of 6 units cubed. Okay? But we've learned a better way to do that, haven't we? So, couldn't we multiply? But how would we multiply, seeing that we have almost 3 different shapes? We have this shape going on here, we have this one here, and we have the one here going underneath. Okay, so it looks like there's 3 sets of these 2x2s. Isn't there? So if we drew it out, we have 3 sets of these, don't we? Okay? Which means, yes, we could figure that out, but that's really getting tricky, isn't it? Let's see if maybe, so what we're looking at is we could break that into 3 different figures. So let's take a look at this one. I can add volume to find the total. So I don't have to know the volume of this whole shape. This shape here is not one that I have worked with before, is it? No, I mean it is. There's one figure here that's a rectangle, another one here. But can't I take those apart and split them? So couldn't I think about taking this and splitting this right here? So I could make 2 different figures. This one up here is that top part, and then this one over here is that bottom part, isn't it? Can you take the volume of this figure? Well, yeah, you can do that, right? No big deal. Can you take the volume of this one? Yeah, no problem whatsoever. But can we take the volume of this? Yeah, that might be a problem, isn't it? But by splitting these apart, we are able to now go ahead and find the volume of each small piece and then put them together. Now, one thing that you want to remember is I always give partial credit. Pearson doesn't, but I do. So when you are working these out and I'm asking you to turn something in, if you found the volume of shape A, okay, and had that answer over here, and then you found the volume of shape B over here, don't forget to let me know both of those answers so that I can see what you're doing. And if you make a mistake, of course, I'll give you partial credit. Pearson will not, but when we do my part, I will be able to see your work. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and break these apart. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. All right, the first thing we need to do is identify the length, the width, and the height. Okay, so I started with the bottom. It seemed a little bit easier, but whatever you want to do. All right, so our length of this one, the length we can see is what? It's 5 centimeters. So I've brought that over here. I've drawn a separate picture. Okay, I do recommend that you draw a separate picture for each of the shapes in your figure until you get good at this. You might not need to, but it's a great way to start. All right, so our length is 5. And then I can see here my width is this 1, which I've put right here. Now, we also have to find the height. Do I have the height here? Here? Do I have it here? Here. No, I don't, do I? Now, what I do have is this whole height. So I went ahead and I used the whole height right here, that 3. Now, I've used up 2 is the height in shape A. So if I take the whole total height of 3 and I subtract the 2, which is used up in shape A, what am I left with? Well, I am left with 1 centimeter. So that means this piece here is 1 centimeter. Okay? So this little area here, this height here, is 1 centimeter tall. We did that because we took the whole height, I took the whole height, and then I subtracted this piece, and that left me with the height of just B. Okay? Now, I have, let me blow this up again. So shape B has a length of 5, we found that here, has a width of 1, and a height of, and we found that out, 1 centimeter. The whole height was 3 centimeters. We used 2 centimeters for shape A, so when we subtracted, we had 1 left over for our shape B. So the volume of shape B is 5 times 1 times 1. Well, that gives us this shape B is 5 centimeters cubed. Okay? Now, let's jump over here to shape A. All right, now let's again make sure we have all of our numbers. Shape A has, well, we've already outlined it here, a height of 2. So we went ahead and filled that in. Well, I also know that it has, let's see here, do you see how this is 1 right here? Which means this is 1, which means this is also 1, and this is 1. So our width is 1. Okay, so it came from here, it was labeled here, which means this piece is the same, and this piece is the same, and this piece is the same, and this piece is the same. Okay, so that tells me that this is each 1 centimeter, which is this part right here. Okay? Now, the length of it, how am I going to find that? In this one, the length was 5. But if you noticed, we used up 4 right here. So what is this leftover piece here going to be? All right, so what we did, we took the 5 minus the 4, and we found the leftover piece, which is 1. Okay, so if you were to keep going, this piece here is 1. So now we have all the pieces of shape A. So let's go ahead and go back out and blow that up. All right, so shape A has a length of 1. We just found that. It has a width of 1, that's the green one, and a height of 2. The whole length is 5 centimeters. We used up 4 already for shape B, so that means we have 1 centimeter left over for our shape A. So the numbers that we have to find volume with are 1 times 2, which is 2 centimeters cubed. So shape A has a volume of 2 centimeters cubed. Okay? So we have 5 centimeters cubed and 2 centimeters cubed. So this one's 5, this one's 2. When we put that together, we get 5 plus 2, which is 7 centimeters cubed. Okay, so did we know how to find the volume of this figure? No, we didn't. But by taking this apart and separating it into 2 separate pieces that we do know how to do, we were able to combine those and find the answer to this problem. Okay? Now, these problems do take a little bit longer. They also have more chances for mistakes just because you're finding volume of different things. So you found one volume and then another one, and then when we put it all together, we had to be careful and have the correct answer. Okay? All right, let's take a look at this next one. So how do I find the volume of this figure? Okay, so let's just blow this one up for just a minute. Okay, do you see that? So it looks like there are maybe 2 rectangles here. So what I'm looking at is there is this piece here, which is this B. Oh, sorry. No bother. Okay, so I have this piece here, which looks like this. I also have this piece here, which is shape A. Okay. Again, we can just break this apart. So let's go ahead and get our pen and let's just slice our figure right here. Okay. So here is shape B and here is shape A. Okay. We see that shape B has a length of 14. Okay, and that's already there. We can see it has a width of 3. And if you look here, this is 2, which means this is 2, this is 2, and this is 2, which means our height is 2. So we have everything we need for shape B to find the volume. We have a length of 14, a width of 3, and a height of 2. When we do that, we get 14 times 3 times 2. When we work that out, we're going to get 84 feet cubed. Okay, so that one wasn't too bad. That was pretty good. Now, let's take a look at shape A. Shape A, all right, we can see that it has a length of 9, which we've labeled down here. We've already looked at the height. We found that was 2. Okay. Now we need the width. Well, the width is just this much. I see that the total width is 8. I've used up 3 on shape B, so what is shape A's width? Okay, so we used 8 is the total width of the whole figure. We used up 3 in shape B. When I subtract these, I get that the width then is 5. So this piece right here is now 5. Okay, so let's write that in. So this is 5 feet. Okay? Now, we are able to then take those numbers. So we have 9 times 5 times, oh, I think I used the wrong number, didn't I? I did. This should be 9 times 5 times 2. So let's get a pencil and correct this. Okay, well. All right, so that means that right here we have 9 times 5, we found that was the width, times, now instead of 2, that, oh, that is a 2, sorry. So that is correct. So 9 times 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 9 is 90. Not that 135, because I was using the 3. So this is 90. Okay? Now, what is 84 plus 90? Okay, well, I know there's a 4. And then 8 plus 9 is 17. So 174 should be the answer there. 174 centimeters cubed. Okay, so I had the wrong number right here. This one is not correct, okay? So let's see here. Let's put an X over that, and this should have been a 2. Okay, and that makes this number a 90. Okay, so if you are using these notes, please make sure that you correct that so that you don't think that's the right answer. Okay, so these are not that bad. I do suggest that you break them into separate shapes. Okay, it makes it much easier that way. All right, it is time to practice again. So today you are working on some of these problems. You're going to be finding the volume of complex figures, okay? There's a worksheet on there, 11.4, and it's going to break down the shapes for you and help you walk it through. So it's going to ask you to break them into, for instance, shape A and shape B, okay? So that'll make it a little bit easier because it's asked you to do that. All right, and that is all for today. Tomorrow we are looking at some word problems, and then we will be doing a review and our test, okay? Just so you know that the test is coming up. We will be doing, at this moment, I'm not really sure whether we'll be doing online or a more traditional test. Either way, we are probably going to take both just so that you get the practice, okay? So, your comment for today is your favorite candy. Okay, so leave me a comment with your favorite candy so that I know that you have watched this lesson. I'll see you tomorrow.